Nehru, the great believer in peaceful coexistence, was about to find out why British political offices in Lhasa in the first half of this Dalai Lama was treated as an honored guest. He gratefully acknowledged the help that had been given to his people. For all the refugees, the Dalai Lama continued to provide a focus for their hopes and devotion. In exile, the refugees were held together by their religion and the presence, real and symbolic, of the Dalai Lama. Under the Chinese, Tibet was as much a mystery as it had ever been. Few journalists were allowed into the country, and those who were permitted had usually shown themselves to have been sympathetic to the Chinese.
Lama, spiritual brother of the Dalai Lama. On the ladder of reincarnation, the Panchen Lama is in fact on a higher spiritual rung than his refugee brother, and most Tibetan people now regard him as their religious leader. On the other hand, the Chinese have appointed him to preside over the Lhasa communist government, but the somewhat odd divergence of responsibilities seems not to worry him at all. Indeed, he described himself to us as being a
Buddhist dialectical materialist revolutionary worker for the people.
The center for Tibetans in exile was in northern India at Dharamsala, just across the Himalayas from Tibet. By 1970, here in the midst of the Himalayan foothills, the Dalai Lama had established, with India's goodwill, a symbolic 2-acre kingdom where the Tibetan religion and the spirit of the old Tibet were kept alive.
I was born in the east part of Tibet, and when I was at the age of 8, I was admitted to the monastery. That's the biggest monastery in Tibet. It's Drepung Monastery in Lhasa. I went to Tibet after 21 years in exile, last year, 1980, to see what is the condition there. And I went as a part of the second delegation, which is sent by Dalai Lama. In the center of Lhasa, the delegations arrived in front of the Chokhang Cathedral. The Tibetans came in thousands, and not only just came to see us, closing their mouths, they were shouting. They were saying, "Long live Dalai Lama, may his wishes be fulfilled." The Chinese could not say a word. They were just so astonished. And some of the Chinese even did not come after that with us. They just left. They, I think, could not really resist the thing. They could not really face the fact. They feel so embarrassed. I was really surprised. Of course, that was not only in Lhasa, even right in the East Tibet when we first entered. Wherever we went, people gathered and the people came. I think what the Chinese tried to do in the past 21 years, that they completely destroyed the culture, completely, leave no trace, and then introduce a new communist culture or Chinese culture in Tibet. I remember that Mao has at one point said that if you make a mistake on a blackboard while writing something, don't try to rewrite it, but completely remove the whole thing and rub the blackboard clean, and then write right from the beginning. This monastery at one time had 7,000 monks. And today this is completely destroyed. We did not come across more than 3 towns where we could see some monasteries living. it's not only the old people who has faith in Dalai Lama, who has faith in religion, but even the younger people, they do come forward. I'm sure they don't know what religion is. This will be first time for these kids to see a Lama, and also Lama who can freely speak to them. In the number of schools we visited, what they teach is completely non-Tibetan, because till 1979, no children can learn Tibetan. In textbooks, they say history of China, legend of Tibet. Even the music they play, which is quite often actually in the morning, in the midday, in the evening, and all these musics are Chinese musics, which you can hear in Shanghai or some other towns. Now, when you go to see, to inspect, let's say, the Tibetans working on the field or a construction of building or road or canal, you will see all the Tibetans are there. But when it comes to the deciding things, like in a position in a government, then you will see the Chinese. The decisions and the powers always with the Chinese. We had 19 to 25 Chinese always with us. When we saw all these monasteries being destroyed and the libraries, all this destroyed, we were really shocked. And we expressed our feeling to these officers, Chinese officers, and number of times we asked, why you destroy these things? And I think they feel very embarrassed because they never try to defend themselves. They actually admit that these destructions were done. But then they say it is not our fault, which means that Communist Party's fault, but it's a gang of four. Sometimes they purposely place religious objects where it should not be. For instance, the money stones, the inscriptions, now they were used to build toilets, to use as a pavements, to insult religion.
Of some 3,500 monasteries and religious sites in Tibet, only parts of 13 are believed to remain today. With this destruction has gone not only one people's cultural identity, but a part of the rich diversity of the world we all live in. It is a tragedy not only for the Tibetans, but for all of us.